안녕하세요. 제 이름은 알리시아 카르예요. 제가 왜 이 비디오 만드는 이유는 자기소개도 하고 싶고 제 영어 가르침 실력이 좀 보여주고 싶었습니다. 먼저 자기소개부터 하겠습니다. 다시 한번 제 이름은 알리시아예요. 저는 23살 미국 여자입니다. 지난 5월에 하와이 대학교에서 졸업했습니다. 하와이 대학교에서 한국어를 전공했습니다. 그래서 지금 한국말로 얘기하고 있습니다. 제가 왜 한국말 배우고 싶은 이유는 저는 원래 언어 배우는 것을 좋아하니까요. 그리고 고등학생 있을 때부터 한국 음악하고 한국 드라마 좋아했으니까요. 그 드라마하고 음악을 이해하기 위해서 한국말 배우고 싶었습니다. 그래서 학 대학생이었을 때는 교환학생으로 서강대학교 갔어요. 서울에 있는 서강대학교에서 한국말도 배웠고 한국 친구도 많이 사귀었어요. 그 친구랑 한국말도 했지만 영어도 많이 했어요. 그래서 그 친구들 위해서 영어 많이 연습했어요. 또 하는 것은 한국에서 한국 고등학생한테 영어 가르쳤어요. 그것 때문에 저는 한국에서 영어 가르치는 선생님 되고 싶어요. 네. Thank you for listening to my brief self-introduction, and now I would like to go into what I think would be a good lesson plan for elementary school students in Korea. So the lesson plan that I came up with is to teach the students about spring. Since spring is coming up, I thought that would be a really excellent idea. So first, before I get into anything else, I would teach the students a little bit about what is spring. Most students should already know, but it's always good to give them a brief reintroduction to it. And the lesson plan I've made is kind of an open lesson plan, so I could easily change it slightly to fit each age group that I may need to teach. So first I'll start with what I would like to explain to the students about spring. So first of all, spring is a season which is directly after winter but before summer. In the spring, the weather gets warmer and the days also get longer. During spring, you can also experience lots of fun times outside, and you also get to witness the growth of new plants. And you also get to go outside and hang out with your friends, have a good time. I know I did that a lot when I was younger. So after I give the students, a brief explanation of exactly what spring is, I would like to go into some important vocab for spring. So I've actually come up with just a few examples of vocab. For younger learners, I would like to focus a little bit more on nouns because I know for myself when I learned Korean, it was really important for me to get the most basic nouns down so that later in life you can use those nouns with a mix of verbs to make up new sentences, especially when you are older in elementary school. So here's an example of a few words that I find to be key vocab words. So my first word is going to be warm. And of course, warmth is, a feeling of from the sun. You're going to feel the heat from the sun, which starts happening in spring, and you usually don't feel in winter. My next word would be to grow. I think this is probably one of the most important words for spring because in spring is the time that you see the plants begin to grow, also the flowers grow, and everything starts to become alive again. The next word that I would use is green. Green is also just as important as grow, I feel, because whenever you hear a description of spring, you often hear about green plants, green flowers, everything is turning green. So I feel like green is a very important word for the children just to remember. Most might already know this word, but it's very important to remind them of how spring and green are tied together. So the next word I would like to use is bloom. Bloom is similar to the word grow, only bloom is used mostly for flowers. So flowers bloom is the same thing as a plant growing. Essentially, the flower comes out of the ground and opens up. With that, we have the next word I found is bud. So in spring, you hear a lot about buds. A bud is a small plant, so it can either be a leaf on a tree, like a little baby leaf, or it can be a small flower, which is starting to grow. It's basically the new part of the flower that's beginning. For one of my next words, I have plant. Plant is, of course, tied to everything in spring as well as all the growth of all the plants. Next, you have tree, which is also a very important plant that grows in the springtime, or the leaves on trees open up. So that leads me to my final word, which is actually leaf or leaves. Leaves are very important in spring. It's how most people know that spring is coming when they see leaves on trees start to bud and to grow. So that is an example of some of the spring vocab that I'd like to share with the students. And with that vocab, we can do anything from have a simple vocab game where, we might play Pictionary, for example, is I think a really good idea. I played it myself when I took language courses. So what you would have the students do is you would give certain students the card with the word on it, tell them not to say it out loud, and to draw a picture of it on the board. For example, it could be flower. So you want the other students to guess flower. So they draw their version of a flower on the board and other students can guess it. And that way they can not only have fun, but they can also be learning at the same time. And after that little bit of practice, you can also have, for older students, some practice making sentences, and you can use some of the vocab words to make sentences, such as have um, green grass grows, or the flowers are budding. Those are all kind of sentences that you can make basically from the words that I have given you. And my final thing that I would definitely want to do is have a wrap-up activity. And the wrap-up activity I've made can easily be used from anywhere from early elementary to late in elementary, just simply by changing it a little bit. So what I've done is I've taken, this is just on a whiteboard, but it would be on a worksheet. And what this is this is a tree. And so on the tree, what you're gonna have is leaves. And on the leaves on the tree, what I'd like the students to do is I would like the students to take words that are spring words and write them on each leaf. Now for younger students, you can just simply write a word. For older students, it would be nice to write ideas or other things like that. Also for older students, it's possible to have them take the words that they write on the tree and further that by writing sentences using the words and specifically defining the words. So that's one thing you can have them do with this. And along with that, you can also have the students color the tree at the end as a nice way of having a little fun time after all the learning. And also with that, it would be lovely if we could display the trees that the students have made in the classroom or somewhere else just to show them the work that they've completed. And it would be a really beautiful thing to have in the classroom. And so that is the lesson plan that I have, and I would really love to share that lesson plan with any students I may be able to come encounter with in Korea, hopefully students at your school. So I want to thank you so much for listening to my video and what I have to say, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Alesia Carter. Thank you. Goodbye.